this week's edition of On the Money with Secure Money with Brian Quaranta. I'm Rebecca Powers. So happy to be with you. Of course, Brian is the creator of Secure Money Advisors. Great to see you, as always.
You know, I have to tell you, I'm always so impressed that you accurately pronounce my name. It's been butchered all my life, and you get it right all the time. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, you know, we had to call, my great-grandfather was called Brian, or he was called Frank Q because nobody could say the last name.
Well, around the studio, everyone calls you BQ. And I said, oh, you know, where did that start? And you were like, they just do that. People, nobody wants to say my name.
Right.
So you get all these funny, you know.
Yes, there's many different versions of it I've had over the years.
Initials. Well, I just want to say congratulations to you and all of your clients because you've had so many referrals.
Yeah.
Business is booming.
Yep.
It's all about trust, respect, education. And if you call, you get not only a copy of this book, he'll actually mail it, he'll ship it, pay for handling. You know, some commercials you say, $5.95 for shipping and handling.
Yeah, we don't do that.
You are so much about promise and respect in your word that you really want people to have this.
Yeah, I do.
Before you come in for the complimentary consultation, let's talk about that free first visit, what you accomplish and what goes on. What does that look like?
Well, you know, first off, the reason I want to get that in people's hands is exactly for what's happening right now in the stock market.
Yeah.
I just believe in protecting someone's lifetime of work. When you spend 30, 40 years, maybe even longer, working, accumulating money, it's really hard for me, after 25 years of doing this, to watch people sit there and roll the dice and gamble with their money. And yet they'll continue to get advice from big box firms that it's okay to take risk. And when their money goes down in value, the answers that they'll get from the financial advisors are, you know, don't worry about it. It's just a paper loss. This shall too pass. Hang in there. You're in it for the long haul. And I came from that world. In 1999, when I got into the business, that was the world that I got brought into the financial industry with, was taking risk with people's money. And I just look at the way financial planning has been done and the way that it's been taught to new individuals coming into the financial space. So if you're a new financial advisor going to work for a big box firm, you're probably going to learn how to diversify a portfolio amongst different stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. That's great if you're helping someone accumulate money, right? And they've got 30 years in front of them. But those strategies and techniques that you use to accumulate your money, Rebecca, they're not the same that you use when you go to retire, because the fundamental framework of what you need the money to do changes.
Completely different.
Completely different.
You've made us understand accumulation is you're gathering, taking that risk, not really thinking about it. And then once you turn that on and need that income, I mean, we all need in our lives before retirement income.
Yes.
But we're never taught that. You have such a powerful story, and I know we've said it twice before on this show because I keep track of everything we do, but I want you to tell it quickly how that's why you went independent. As an independent fiduciary, you're sitting on the same side of the desk. You're in the same team. There's no conflict. You're not getting commissions from the more that you sell. Give that little quick story that really set your sales for your career.
Yeah. You know, if you've come to one of my educational events or you hear me on the radio on KDKA Saturday mornings, I always tell this story because this is the story that really kind of changed my life. But very early on in my career, matter of fact, the first financial job I ever had for a big firm in Pittsburgh, the first day on the job, they said to me, hey, kid, you're going to be answering the phones for the next couple of weeks. And so I did. And during that point in time, the market was dropping. This was at the end of 1999. The tech bubble was bursting, and people were losing a lot of money. And I took a phone call from an individual that was very panicked and very upset that he had lost a lot of money. And the first thing he says to me when I answer the phone, he says, I need to sell out of my investments today. I can't afford to take any more losses. I need you to liquidate things immediately. Well, I don't know what to tell this individual, right? I don't know what to tell him. So the thing I did was I said, well, tell me your financial advisor's name, and I'll go speak to your financial advisor and come back with an answer. So I did. He gave me the financial advisor. I go back to the financial advisor, and I said, you got a client on the line. He's lost money. He needs to get out of the stock market. This is money that he needs to live off of. And the financial advisor says to me, Brian, you're going to learn very quickly in your career that You can't just sell when the market's down. He said, we don't sell, we are long-term investors. So I need you to get back on the phone with this individual and let him know that everything's going to be okay, that it's just a paper loss, to hang in there and remind him that he's in it for the long haul. So I'm writing this down, and none of it really makes sense to me because, again, it's my first couple of days on the job. But I'm a good employee, so I went back and I repeated what I was told. And I said, I want you to know I spoke to your advisor. He said, everything's going to be okay. Don't worry about anything. This will pass, and it's just a paper loss, and you're in it for the long haul. And what he said to me next truly changed my life. He said, Brian, I'm 75 years old. How much damn long haul does this guy think I've got left? I need this money. This is 45 plus years of work that I've saved this money. I don't have a pension. The only income I have is Social Security, and that is not enough for me to live off of. So every time I pull money out of this account, not only is it going down in value because I'm pulling money out, but it's going down in value because the stock market's losing. And I learned very quickly that day that it's very easy to tell somebody else to risk their money, especially if you get paid a fee or commission to do it.
Exactly.
Think about that one.
That's right.
You're getting paid a fee, regardless of whether the account is up in value or down in value, but yet you're telling someone with confidence to just hang in there that you're in it for a long haul.
No, he was telling you to tell him.
He was telling me to tell him.
But your conscience.
Yeah. It was against my moral guidance, right?
Yes.
I mean, there was friction there when I said, this doesn't seem right to me. And of course, spending more time on that side of the business, I'm listening and I'm going, this is not what I want to do. And this is why when I write about, building your retirement in my book, Right Track Your Retirement, I talk about the fundamental shift that you need to make as you approach retirement, where we have to think about how to protect our money, but still position it in a way that we can keep pace with inflation, pay for the expenses that we're going to need to pay for in retirement. But I write about it in detail because I want you to have this information. I want you to start to think about retirement differently. I want you to hear a different message than what you've probably been hearing for a very long time. So I want you to call 1-888-382-1298. You can call that number right now, schedule a time to come in for a complimentary Right Track review. It's about a 45-minute review where we will help you get some clarity around the way you should start thinking about retirement planning versus just gambling with your money. Now, you can also go to onthemoneyoffer.com, and there you can request a copy of the book. I pay for the shipping and handling, just like Rebecca said. It's absolutely free. I don't know how to make it any easier. So go to onthemoneyoffer.com, get a copy of the book, and when you're there, you can also schedule a time for the Right Track review and come into the office.
And even if you're not a reader like myself, I was an anchor for 20 years, but I don't like to read books. I really don't. But it is very short, very easy to read, very simplified chapters. So you can even highlight the chapters, and it's definitely worth a read. All right, stay with us. We are here with Brian Quaranta. We're talking about risk and retirement. They do not go together. How do we secure your money? It is possible. We'll be right back.
See, everybody can tell you how to invest your money. There's not a lot of people out there and a lot of firms that can teach you how to use your money. Most people will also tell you that they're scared. And the reason they're scared is because they're afraid of running out of money.
The last thing you want to do is have a really good job into your 60s, retire, and be looking for work again in your late 70s.
The average person might say, well, a good portfolio would be a good mix of stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. No. A good portfolio is all designed around the 5 key areas: income, taxes, investments, healthcare, and legacy planning.
We're not just product pickers here. What we do best here is we build retirement plans.
9 out of 10 people, when they walk through the door, would ask us, we just want to know if we're on the right track. And I always say, if you're not on the right track, when would be a good time to know it? Probably now.
People, can actually see a vision once we start to really build out their plan.
This is about you. If you're not getting what you need, and you feel that when you walk out of the advisor's office, it's time to get a second opinion. And you can't get a second opinion from the person that gave you the first opinion. The difference at Secure Money Advisors, as a fiduciary firm, we help you manage the risk, build the income, and give you the retirement you dreamed of.
Welcome back. We're talking about your retirement and, more importantly, how to take risk out of your retirement savings. It is possible. Brian, I want to talk about that first appointment because for me and my husband, it was so eye-opening when we saw the Morningstar report, when we saw these things. This was the actual risk we were in. These were the fees we were actually paying. Mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that rate track review.
Yeah, well, it's a very comprehensive review. I mean, first off, the one thing we really like is that if you are on the right track and you are doing the right things, we're not there to sell you. We're going to be honest with you and tell you, look, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing the right things. But if there are areas that need to be potentially changed, or you've got unwanted risk that you may not know about, or you have high fees in areas that you don't know about, or you might have the wrong financial product for what you're trying to accomplish, we'll let you know that. You don't need to move forward. That's up to you. But you're going to get an honest review without worrying about the pressure of having to make a decision or on board with us. So that'll be up to you of whether or not. We're just there to deliver the information. But yes, we have a number of reports and technology that we use to evaluate the current plan.
And it's not yours, it's a third-party software.
It's a third-party software. Yeah, very important, because any financial planning firm can go out and purchase this software. A lot don't, because it's expensive.
It's expensive.
But we use Morningstar, we use Riskalyze, we use a number of calculators to help calculate certain things. So, but we build out this report for you so that you can understand what risk are you taking, what fees are you paying, what's the probability of success of your portfolio, how much income are you going to be able to take out without running out of money, what rate of return, this is a big one, a lot of people don't realize this. What rate of return do you need your portfolio to do in order for you to accomplish your goals?
That's huge.
How many people don't even know?
Most of us, because we weren't taught this.
Right.
None of us were.
Right. So we were just taught, you know, well, I do a review with my advisor and they talk about performance.
Right. We trust one guy who's at a box with a big name, and I'm going to hope and pray that I have enough to retire.
That's right. So how do you know, if you don't know what rate of return your portfolio actually needs to do, how do you know if you're on the right track?
You mean you have to set a goal?
Yes.
To get somewhere. How novel, Brian.
Well, so I write about the 3 interest rates that you need to know about in the book, by the way. It's the spend down rate, the preservation rate, and the legacy rate. And when we come back from this break, I think it's time to take a break, yes?
We got about 5 more minutes.
Okay, we got 5 more minutes. Never mind, I'll keep going.
It's your show. You pay the bills.
But let's talk about them. So the spend down rate is very, very simple. Okay. So that is, if I want to take out a certain amount of money, so we have to understand is that about 85 to 90% of the people retiring today don't have a pension. We have Social Security, right? And that's a form, Social Security is a form of an annuity. It's going to pay you a monthly income as long as you're alive, all right? The amount that you're going to get from Social Security is all determined on what you paid into it based on your earnings. So most people will tell you that that Social Security is not going to be enough money for them to live off of.
Right.
Okay, so how do you get the extra money that you need? Well, people are going to be relying on their retirement savings. Now that comes in many different shapes and sizes. That can be a 401k, it could be a 403b, it could be a 457, it could be an IRA account, a Roth IRA account. There's many different retirement savings vehicles that people put money into, okay? All have different rules when you start to distribute the money.
Yeah.
But people will tell you that they are going to need that money, use that money to live off of. Okay, well, if I'm going to withdraw that money, what rate of return do I need to get in the spend down rate is what rate of return do I need to get to where maybe that account spends down to 0 by the age of 95. So that's the spend down rate. That's your minimum rate. Yeah.
And then there's also all kinds of tax ramifications.
Correct.
So there's also tax planning. We're going to get into all of these things.
Yes.
And of course, you touch on that in your book as well. What do you think the biggest misconception is when people come into your office and they're so relieved, the weight is off their chest, they see what's really going on, you give them kind of different scenarios and they pick one.
Yeah.
What is the biggest misconception?
Well, it's the interest rate. So let me finish this because we've got the preservation rate that I want to talk about. Because the misconception is not understanding the rate of return that you need. The preservation rate is if I want to pull out a certain amount of money and I want to preserve that principal, what rate of return do I need? And then, of course, you have the legacy rate. If I want to pull a certain amount of money out, but I still want to grow my money, what rate of return do I need?
Gotcha.
So now you got 3 rates. So now you can start to figure out what's the average return that the portfolio needs to do. So now when you come in for your review, You'll know exactly what the portfolio needs to do in order to stay on track. Most people just have no idea of that. Once you figure that out, now you start to go ahead and you can solve the retirement puzzle problem, right? But go ahead and ask me that question you were going to ask me again. I forget what you were asking.
Just what's the biggest misconception? I know that you have told me that
Yep.
9 out of 10 don't have a written plan.
Oh,
That's
for sure.
number one.
Yes.
But what's the biggest thing when they're so relieved? They go, gosh, if I had only known this sooner, I guess.
Yeah, well, there's 5 areas that people don't understand that have to be solved for.
Okay.
Number one, most importantly, is your income strategy, okay? Most people are just investing in a diversified portfolio of stocks, bonds, and mutual funds with no real income strategy.
Right.
Advisors are just like, well, we'll take 4% a year out, right? Because that's usually a rule of thumb that they use. Number 2 is going to be your tax strategy, right? So when you withdraw money, you got to pay taxes on it. Well, how are you going to handle that? Because one of the things you got to think about in retirement is are taxes and inflation going to affect your purchasing power, right? Because if you need to withdraw $1,000 a month and you're in a 20% tax bracket, well, you're only going to net $800.
Right.
Well, here's the problem with taxes. They can change the rules in the middle of the game anytime they want. So they can all of a sudden say, oh, I'm sorry, well, your tax rate's going to 30% now.
That's right.
Now, just by raising taxes, your withdrawal that you need of $1,000 after you pay taxes is only going to net you $700 now, right? So they don't understand the tax implications of withdrawing money in retirement. 3 is your investment strategy. The things that you were doing to get to retirement are the same things you're going to do to get through retirement. Health care event. Most people are going to have a health event. The question is when. How are you going to pay for it? How are you going to take care of that, right? And then, of course, your last one is when the good Lord decides to take you home, right? And you leave all that money to your family, friends, charities, whatever. The big question is, who's going to be the largest beneficiary? The folks that you're leaving it to or the IRS? Because remember, the IRS comes in on every part of your life, you know, and they're going to get you, believe me, when you die. So, folks, go to onthemoneyoffer.com, get a copy of my book. I mean, all of this that Rebecca and I are talking about are in the book. Don't hesitate on this. Don't procrastinate. It's very easy to procrastinate on things that we don't want to do. This is not one area that you want to do that, right? And if you are working with somebody, I would tell you, come in, have an open mind, get a second opinion. As I always say, you can't get a second opinion from the person that gave you the first opinion, okay? When you come to our office, nobody's going to sell you anything. Nobody's going to press you to do anything. We're there to truly provide you with the information you need so that you can make the decisions that you need to make that are best for your situation. OnTheMoneyOffer.com, you go there, get a copy of the book. Also, while you're there, you can schedule a time to come in for a Right Track review, or you can just call 1-888-382-1298, and our team is standing by to take your call and get you scheduled.
And you can always go to onthemoneyoffer.com to make that appointment as well and get that book. And remember the QR code, aim your phone at it. It'll take you right to our landing page. All right, stay with us. We're talking about your retirement and how to take the risk out of that word retirement. We'll be right back.
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. After nearly a lifetime on the job, you should be rewarded for all the time you spent working. Whether that's crossing off items on your bucket list, learning a new passion, or rekindling the love of an old one. After all, life isn't over when you stop working. It's the start of an all-new chapter. The one where you're the writer and you get to choose how your story will go. A way to achieve that is by having a clear financial plan to sustain your golden years. The biggest fear most retirees have is if they'll have enough money to maintain the lifestyle they've always enjoyed. Having a plan to help protect you against the curveballs life often throws will help to maintain your lifestyle. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to On the Money with Secure Money with Brian Quaranta. And the name of the show is On the Money with Secure Money. I love that you put the word secure.
Yeah.
Because that is number one. A penny saved is a penny earned.
That's right. Yep.
So if you can just save someone some fees,
Yep.
save someone a penny here and there, it adds up.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, what rate of return is worth risking 40 years of work?
It's bizarre.
It's bizarre. It really is bizarre when you think about it. You know, I have said for the last 20 years, there needs to be a better system. Mm-hmm. Think about the days of the pension. How easy was it? You put in so many years worth of work, and when you retired, you got Social Security and you got a pension. That was enough money for people to live off of.
And you knew what it would be.
And you knew what it would be.
Exactly what it would be.
You knew what it would be. if you had extra money saved, a lot of people didn't even have to take risks because you could go to the bank and earn a nice interest rate buying bank CDs. I mean, you go back 40 years ago, I mean, they were maybe at 10 or 15% interest. So,
Nice.
I mean, it's nice to even see yields coming back up. I've told, you know, a number of our clients, because look, I'm not against the stock market. I want to make that very clear, okay? So we are not a firm that doesn't believe in the stock market. I just believe in a better model than having 100% of your money in the stock market. I still believe in the stock market over the long haul, and if you look at it in 10, 20-year periods, it does tend to go up permanently. It just temporarily goes down. The problem is people are risking money that they cannot afford to lose. So in my book, Right Track Your Retirement, I talk about the proper way of diversifying a portfolio in retirement. You got to have some secure money, and then you have to have some risk money, but that risk money is money that truly needs to be long-term money. It's the only way that it can be done. But if we made it simpler for people to retire, think about it this. I've said, what if we could bring back the pension in a different way? What if there was a way to get people guaranteed money? The problem with the pension was if you left your job, you left your pension, right? Or you didn't qualify for it. So that's not good because Gen Xers have probably had 5 jobs, right? So, but what if you could take that pension from one job to another?
Yeah.
And the employer could say, well, if you come to us, we'll put this much money towards your pension. And now it's a pension that can be portable, okay?
Right.
Well, the Secure Act, which I don't have time to go into what law this was, but the Secure Act was a change in retirement stuff,
Okay.
IRAs, things. Well, the Secure Act 2.0 came out and said they're going to start allowing annuities to be in 401k plans. Now, I cheered as loud as I could cheer when I heard this. Now, some of you listening might think to yourself, an annuity? Why would I want to put money in an annuity? That ties my money up. It's probably got a lot of fees. I'm never going to be able to get my money out. I'm never going to earn any interest. Well, if that's what you think, you don't understand annuities.
Right.
You don't understand annuities. You understand annuities probably because somebody that was trying to sell you something else probably explained annuities to you in a way that made you feel like, well, that's the worst investment in the world. And I'm telling you right now, why would you hate an investment that guarantees and protects your principal and provides you with a lifetime of income, right?
Guaranteed lifetime growing income. And compliance said that I can tell this personal story. I didn't know that I was with an insurance salesman. I thought it was a financial advisor, fiduciary. I didn't know. I was in my 20s. And he sold me a bunch of products. And I had a variable annuity, which I know you're going to spit at because they are bad. So I think in the past, annuities have gotten a bad rap, I guess is my point.
Sure.
But now, as you know, I took all of my 401k money from my 20 years in television as a news anchor and put it in a fixed indexed annuity. And I lose zero. I get some of the gains, but not all of the gains. Explain how it is tied to the market, but not in the market. It sounds too good to be true, but they are phenomenal, especially right now.
Yeah. So if you lift up the hood and look at the engine inside of these fixed index annuities, essentially what they're doing is just buying an option on an index, right? An index is the Dow, the S&P, the NASDAQ. So when I say index, just think about those indexes.
Okay.
Well, when you buy an option on the index, there's only 2 things that are going to happen at the end of the year. It's either going to be up or it's going to be down. That's it. If it's up, you're going to earn some of the interest. So let's say it's up 10%. Well, you might only earn 70% of that or 7%.
Right.
If it's down, you get a 0.
Zero is my hero.
That's right.
I wanted to get a T-shirt that says that.
Right. Now, a lot of people might ask, well, why do I only get some of the gains? Well, when you buy an option, there's a cost to buying it.
Right.
So the cost of the option is what sets the participation of what you'll get at the end of the year if the market's up. So in this case, if it's up 10 and you get 7, that's because the insurance company had to pay to have this option for you to participate without putting your money at risk. Now, professional traders do this all day long.
Right.
Professional traders buy options, You know, they buy calls, they buy puts, they sell calls, they sell puts. And most professional traders do not risk their actual capital. They are just spending money to buy the option to either participate or not participate in an individual stock or an index, because they know that they would rather pay a little bit of money and be able to control the risk versus just putting their money in and having no control of the risk at all.
Absolutely.
So think about like buying, I don't know, Microsoft, right? Well, do we know what Microsoft's going to be 3 months from now?
Nope.
What price it's going to be
No
at?
one does.
But what if we had the option to buy Microsoft in 3 months, and we had the option to buy it when it was up, but we got it for today's price? So let's say it's at $50, and 3 months from now it's at $70. Wouldn't you like the option to buy it at 50?
Yes.
Rather than buying it at 70? That's what an option gives you the opportunity to do. And so this is a very simple strategy that the insurance companies figured out. But what else they figured out is they figured out how to not only give you some upside of the market when it goes up, but protect you when it goes down. They also figured out how to create a strategy within those products to provide you with a private pension. Guaranteed income for the rest of your life. If you die, the rest of your wife's life or your husband's life. If you both die, any balance in the account is paid out to your beneficiaries.
With no probate.
Yeah, because
That's another reason we loved it.
Yeah, right, because it's got a beneficiary document. But here's the real key. The real key is this. What happens if you're taking money out and you're living a long, happy, healthy life, and the balance of that account goes to zero? Are you out of money? Well, if you were in the stock market, you would be out of money. That's it, game over. In an annuity, you still get your income. That's called insurance.
Exactly.
So we insure our homes.
Yes.
We insure our cars. We insure our health. Folks, let me ask you, why in the world would you not insure the most important thing you're going to need? And that's your monthly income. Would you drive around without car insurance? Would you walk around without health insurance? Why are you walking around without income insurance? Because that's what the annuity does. And I write about it in the book, Right Track Your Retirement. Again, go to onthemoneyoffer.com, get a copy of the book, schedule a time to come in and see the team. You will get a lot out of that meeting. You'll get a very comprehensive look at what you're currently doing and some suggestions of how to make your current situation better. If you're already doing good things, we'll let you know you're on the right track. So again, onthemoneyoffer.com or call 1-888-382-1298. The team is standing by right now to talk to you and get you scheduled.
And we want to say a sincere thanks to all of you at home for watching and for telling your friends about us. We really appreciate it. We hope you've learned something today, and we'll see you next week.